This is your first time doing radio. You've been DJing forever, but it seems like
yes,
radio.
I've been DJing since I'm 10 years old.
Yeah.
Professionally since I'm 13 years old.
Right.
Been around the world. This is my first album, and I've been working on this album for 4 years.
Right.
And I've been releasing songs off the album for only a few months.
Okay.
So yes, this is the very, very, very start of a new chapter of my career.
Right.
And life.
Right.
And creativity.
And this is crazy, guys. Talk about like, you know, being at the right place at the right time. When you were 18, Diddy discovered you. Is that correct? You were at a club. What was that story?
Yeah, when I was about 18, I was playing at a club in New York. It was a hot club, but it was kind of a slow night. And my career had really started a year or two before that. I really started to play some of the hotter clubs in New York and around the country,
right.
and started to travel the world. But I was at this club, and at 3 a.m, I see Puff come out of the corner of the room and start to dance. It's just him and maybe 1 or 2 other people. And I'm playing the soul classic records of the 1970s and 80s. And he stays dancing until about 5 a.m. And as he's walking out, he comes to the DJ booth and he sees me. And at that time, I was around 18 years old and I must have looked like I was 11.
Yeah.
And he looks me up and down and he says, "Who's the DJ?" And I say, "I'm the DJ." And he said, "Who's been playing all this old-ish all night?" And I say, "Me." And he looks at me rather, curiously, and he writes down his number on a napkin and says, "Call him the next day." So I was a freshman in college, NYU. So I went to class the next morning, and I procrastinated calling all day, because when you finally meet someone who you admire like this, as much as you think you want to talk to them on the phone, you don't.
Right.
So after a full day of classes, I call and I get his voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, "God is the greatest, leave a message."
Really?
So I stammer through a voicemail, and I say, "That's the end of that. I'm never hearing from him again." Anyway, I go to one final class, and when I get out, I have a voicemail. It says, "I'm calling for Sean Puffy Combs. Please call us back at the office." Well, I take the train home. I slam my door shut. I tell my mother not to come in. And I call back, and I say, "Hey, it's DJ And before I could say my name, they say, "Hold on, please." And Puff comes on the phone. And he says, "Listen, Playboy, I never seen a young white boy rock soul music like that before in my life." He's like, "Yo, I'm doing a party for the MTV Awards next week, and I want you to DJ." So a week later, I was DJing Puffy's party for the VMAs. Every celebrity on earth was there, from Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake to Eminem and Dr. Dre to Nelly and Ja Rule and everyone who was huge at the time.
Right.
And I went on to meet Jay-Z and Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez and to DJ for them and for Russell Simmons and then for Mary J. and Pharrell and Kanye, to Naomi Campbell, to Anna Wintour, to Oprah Winfrey, to President Barack Obama.
Right, and that was actually my next question. Like, how did the Obama thing happen?
Well, I first DJ'd for the president at his inauguration, which is now about 6 years ago in 2008, and it was one of the most surreal, meaningful,
right.
And emotional, nights in my life. And I've gone on to DJ countless events for him.
Mm-hmm.
I was the first DJ to ever perform at a presidential inauguration. I was the first DJ to ever perform at a Democratic National Convention. I was the first DJ to ever perform at the White House.
Right. And
people often say to me, performing for the president, performing at the White House must be a dream come true. And I say, it's not really a dream come true, because I could have never have imagined such a crazy thing in my wildest dreams.
Right.
And people often say, well, now by the third time you've gone to the White House, the fourth time, the fifth time, it must not be the same feeling you had the first time. And I said, no, it's even crazier. Because on the fifth time, you begin to know your way around, and you begin to know the staff, and you just, you stand in the red room, which is the famous, they have a red room, a blue room, a green room. You're standing in the famous red room, looking out the window, And you're just saying to yourself, how and why am I here?
Right.
And when I was 10 years old, I was a hip-hop kid, and I asked my parents for 2 turntables and a mixer for my birthday. When I turned 10, received the greatest gift of my life. And I could have never imagined such a wild thing.
Mm-hmm. So you're on tour with Robin Thicke right now.
Yes.
You were on tour with Jay-Z's my hero. He's my hometown hero. I'm from Brooklyn.
He's everyone's.
I don't think I told you that.
Okay, New York, born and raised.
Yeah, Jay-Z, Justin Timberlake. You know, how is it like touring with these guys?
Well, I was the sole opening act on the Legends of the Summer Stadium Tour.
Mm-hmm.
So we did 14 stadiums, about 60 to 90,000 people a night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there to set the party off.
Right.
And every night, that's exactly what I did.
I remember when you were here at Ford Field.
Yeah.
You hit Lose Yourself. Eminem, Lose Yourself.
Oh,
and
yeah.
people went nuts. People thought
yeah.
Eminem was about to come out. It was nuts. That was dope when he did that.
It was a very thrilling tour to be on. You know, to watch those 2 modern day icons at work.
Right.
To get a behind the scenes seat to watch them in action, put
Right.
together a show, perfect a show, rock a show every night was a very, very treasured experience and a very fun time.
Right. Now, you know, with all the success, I mean, did you ever in your wildest imaginations envision any of this?
You know, when I was 10 years old, I became a DJ for the love of the music and for the love of the craft, and it's all I did.
Mm-hmm.
Every morning, every afternoon after school, every night, every weekend. And when you're at that age, you don't think about things like traveling the world, making money, being hired by your heroes. You don't think about things like that.
Right.
And the greatest experiences that I've had in my DJ career, and in the journey of creating my album as well, which I'll explain to you, the greatest experiences have been getting to know and interacting with so many amazing people who I look up to and who I've admired for years. To be able to share experiences with your heroes,
Right.
Has been probably the most profound part of my career to date.
Right.
And that continues.
Mm-hmm. Is there anybody you'd like to work with that you haven't?
You know, it was my dream to work with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
He was
My boy Slim on the camera, one of the biggest Michael Jackson fans you'll ever meet.
You know, after I DJ'd for the president, people would always say, well, who's next? Who can you DJ for? And I would say Michael Jackson. And he shortly after, you know, the time where I started to say that, he shortly after that, you know, passed away.
Right.
And after he died, you know, he left a void. He left a big void. There will never be another him, and there'll never be someone, at least, who can make me feel what he felt.
Right.
He was the number one guy who I really wanted to DJ for him.
Mm-hmm.
But in the new chapter of my life with the music, there's a whole new slew of you know,
Mm-hmm.
people to work with now.
Right.
You know, coming from a different you know, standpoint.
Right.
And that's exciting.
And, you know, onto the music. Calling All Hearts. That's your single.
Yes, Calling All Hearts featuring Robert Thicke and Jessie J is my debut single.
Right.
But you know, the story of this album really starts when I was 10 years old, which is why you know, I really wanted to explain to you kind of the genesis of my career. But
Mm-hmm.
as a hip hop kid, I thought that to fully embrace hip hop, you had to hate everything else.
Right.
But I looked up to Kool Herc, Africa Bambaataa, Grandmaster Flash. Those are my heroes, and I quickly learned that they really weren't playing much hip hop, because there wasn't much hip hop when they started.
Right.
They were creating the culture by playing all kinds of music.
Mm-hmm.
So they were playing funk, soul, disco, rock and roll, reggae, Latin music, everything under the sun,
Yeah.
to create something new, and that completely fascinated me.
Mm-hmm.
And through all those experiences, no matter if I was playing for leaders of the hip-hop world, leaders of the fashion world, leaders of the free world, if I was playing for young, old, black, white, rich, poor, anyone in between, I grew to believe that the soul music of the late 1970s and early 1980s was the greatest dance music of all time.
Right.
No matter where I went, the classic records of that era not only worked, they killed. And they put a spirit and emotion and an energy in the air like no other kind of music. And I always wish that young people would have their own songs that felt like this, their own songs of their own generation, from their own artists, their own anthems of celebration.
Right.
So 4 years ago, I set out on a mission to bring back the greatest dance music of all time, back to the airwaves, back to nightlife, back to the dance floor.
Right.
So the first step in this process was I sat at my computer, I made a playlist in iTunes. I put my favorite 25 songs of that era in the list. And I put them in chronological order. And they all fell between 1978 and 1982.
Right.
Some of the artists on the list were Michael Jackson, Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and the Gang, Chic, Shaka Khan, Luther Vandross, Shalimar, Rick James, and many more. And I said, how do I get my songs to sound and feel like these songs? So then I made a list of every musician who played on every one of the 25 songs. The drummer, the guitar player, the bass player, the horn player, etc. And after making 25 separate lists, what I saw was the same names repeating over and over.
Right.
So I said to myself, who are these guys? These guys were the men behind the music. It became very clear to me that the producers and the recording artists were essentially calling on the same session musicians. They were the architects of the sound. So I said, in order to achieve my goal here, I need to go to the source. So over the past 4 years, I reunited 22 of the most legendary musicians of the late 1970s and early 1980s for the first time in over 30 years in one room to channel their definitive sound with no samples, no covers, no interpolations, no machines. I'm talking every member of Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and the Gang, Rufus, every musician who played on Off the Wall from Michael Jackson. Literally 22 of the most renowned musicians of all time. Then I said, now I need new voices to bring this music back to life.
Right.
And the voices have to represent my generation. And they have to represent all genres of music, from pop, R&B, rock and roll, to electronic music, everything. All voices representing all people, all walks of life, coming together under one sound.
Right.
So over the past 4 years, I put together the most eclectic roster of recording artists from my generation to write and record original songs. And that list of artists includes Robin Thicke and Jessie J, John Legend, Estelle, Mary J. Blige, Kelly Rowland, Melanie Fiona, Chromeo, Passion Pit, Neo, CeeLo, Usher, and R. Kelly. And the first, single, Calling All Hearts, is a true, definitive, anthem that represents the album in all its heart and soul. The album comes out springtime, May 2014, Paradise Royale. And, I often get asked, what is the Paradise Royale? Well, you can see a glimpse of the Paradise Royale in the music video for Calling All Hearts.
Right.
And we just hit 1 million views
I
today
watched the
after
video.
1 week. Oh, thank you.
It looked like a lot of fun.
Thank you. So without you, it would have been 999.
Probably.
And you can see a glimpse of the Paradise Royale. But the Paradise Royale is a fantasy land that has existed in my mind throughout the 4-year journey of making the album. And I believe the Paradise Royale exists in all our minds. And you don't need a ticket to get there. You don't need a car, a plane, or a train. You don't need money. You don't need a fancy outfit. You don't need a date. All you need is to close your eyes and hit play and listen to the greatest dance music of all time. At the Paradise Royale, all people of all walks of life, like I've explained, like I've seen throughout the world, come together on one dance floor, under one moon, under one sun, under one set of stars, under one sky, to dance to the greatest dance music of all time, and that's the Paradise Royale.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much
DJ
for having
Cassidy.
me.
Appreciate it.